this meeting to order at 8:04. This time we will ask that our technology department pull up our mission statement that we can read together. Give them a moment to find our mission statement or post it. All right, can we read together our mission statement? The mission of Weldon City School District
is to create and maintain a highly effective
educational system in which
Every
every student receives the highest quality education. School employees and parents work together to prepare students
become
become caring, competent, and responsible citizens who value education as a lifelong process. All right. Thank you so much. All right, fellow board members, at this time, I would ask that you would review the agenda that has been presented unto us tonight. If there are additions to our agenda, we could make those at this time. Okay, can we?
Chairman Sykes.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if it's coming out of the capital needs grant or not. Will they include the new school?
Yes, sir. That's what that is.
That's what that's, okay.
Yes, sir.
I still would like to have added, leadership program.
You want to add something different, leadership program?
Yes, sir.
All right, can we make that 9A?
Yes, sir. I'm good
All right.
with that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Williams. Leadership program. Okay, I think Ms. Jenkins, didn't you want to add something as well? I think you said something about SROs. Is that right?
Yes, for the elementary school, but I think Dr. Cochran was saying that I think Mr. Futrell is already working on that.
Okay, well, just for the sake of discussion, briefly, we'll make that 9B and put school district SROs. You all right with that?
Well, it's fine. I was just bringing it back because, you know, school's getting ready to start, and I was.
Right. I got you. We're just gonna put it up there. Whatever discussion has to come, we'll do that at that time.
But that's put it up there every time.
Mr. Chair,
Excuse me?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
can we pull number 8 and open it up to interested individuals?
When we get there at that time, if that is the desire of the board, when we get there to number 8, if we want to open it up rather than moving forward with the appointment, yes, we can definitely discuss that then.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
That's fine.
Okay. So we'll just add discussion to that. Appointment / discussion, whichever one we need to do. All right. Was it anything else? I'll turn to Ms. Murchison. I did want to add, I guess, 9C, if we could have discuss possibly for action superintendent threshold.
Who's that?
Is that where you said we need to do it in open session?
Oh, I'm sorry, you had cut out there a little bit, Reverend Sykes. Could you repeat what you were proposing as 9C?
The superintendent thresh for purchasing.
Purchase.
Oh, purchase.
Purchase.
Oh, purchase.
Oh, purchase. Yes, that'd be fine.
Okay, superintendent thresh for purchasing.
Well, again, that's a policy issue, and so for the policy, for a change in policy, we would need to bring that forward. The board would need to make a motion to waive their, normally with any policy change, you would have to waive, but you would have to have 2 readings. It's just an amendment, you don't have to do that, but we can certainly talk about that policy as under 9C.
Yes, that's what I want to do tonight. If we begin the conversation.
Got it. That would be fine.
All right. Anyone else have anything? Ms. Bird Robinson, I thought you mentioned a contract.
Yes, it's for the Turning Point local area contract and the workforce innovation. But that can, if Mr. Futrell is given a report tonight or updates, then that can come under there.
Okay, so you don't want to add it for discussion then?
Yes, it will, I do need it for discussion, some discussion.
So do you want to add it as 9D, or do you just want to see if Mr. Futre, I'm trying to get clarity.
I can ask my questions based on what Mr. Futrell is sharing with us.
Okay, all right. We won't need a 9D then. You can insert that with his report.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. Anything else? All right, hearing none, a motion would be in order to approve our agenda for tonight as it has been amended.
Make a motion that we approve the agenda with the said updates or additions.
Okay, was there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Williams. It's been motioned by Ms. Bird Robinson and seconded by Mr. Williams, that we approve the agenda as it has been amended for tonight. I apologize again. Tongue got tired. I'm trying to talk too fast because I know we got to be out by 10. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by a voice vote. Sykes, aye. Ms. K. Robinson.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins.
Aye.
Ms. Bird Robinson.
Aye.
Ms. Hale. Ms. Hale.
Aye.
And Ms. Harrison.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. Let the record reflect unanimous approval by the 7 board members that we approve our agenda as amended. Next, we have open session minutes approval for June the 9th, June the 23rd, and our board retreat on June the 29th. Motion is in order to approve those minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for June 9th, 2022 regular board meeting and June 23rd board retreat and the June 29th special call meeting.
Second.
Been motioned by Ms. Hale and seconded by Mrs. Harrison that we approve the minutes from the aforementioned dates. You've heard that motion. Any further discussion or unreadiness? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, would you let it be known by your voice vote? Mrs. Harrison?
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins?
Aye.
Ms. Hale?
Aye.
Mrs. Bird Robinson?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Kay Robinson,
Aye.
and O.D. Sykes, aye. Record reflect unanimous approval of our minutes from the said dates. All right, moving on to number 5, reports. Dr. Williams will give superintendent's report, and let me say to the community and everyone that is sharing this evening, we are certainly delighted that Dr. Danny T. Williams is our new superintendent for Weldon City Schools, and this is his first official board meeting as our superintendent. And so I hope that you will join with me in giving a round of applause, thanking him for being with us as we will hear from him tonight, his first superintendent's report. Thank you, Dr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To board members, board attorney, to all of you that are present here tonight, I want to share that it is certainly my sheer desire and joy to be a part of this family of the Weldon City Schools. I'm no stranger to education, but at the same time, I'm in a strange land that's soon to be my home, among my home. I want you to know that we are working hard to pull together a team of people that can make a difference here in Weldon City Schools for our children, parents, staff, and this community. Today ends our summer learning, but we want you to know that learning has not ended for our students. We want a continuation of learning for our students moving forward. Next week, the leadership team will have a retreat Monday through Wednesday to further lay out, plan, strategize many different opportunities for engaging, making things better. We want to take where we are and make it better along the journey. So we are working diligently to do that. We are working on convocation coming up really soon, the first week in August. On August the 2nd, just for date purposes, we're looking forward to the district hosting a meet and greet of the superintendent here at HCC from 5:30 to 7. On the 3rd, we will have our convocation at Weldon City Schools Middle School, beginning at 8:30 a.m. So there are some things on the horizon that we're working toward making better. I oftentimes like to consider it like this. We didn't get where we are overnight. We won't get out of it overnight. But with steadfastness, hard work, and dedication, we will see some steady progress along life's journey. So I ask for your support, your many prayers, as we move forward, placing people where we feel is the best fit for them to make an impact on our children. Children first is where we stand in making a difference. This will conclude my brief report tonight, and I do appreciate the opportunity to serve.
Thank you, Dr. Williams, for your report tonight, and I will be a brief 2 minutes or less. Let me just say to our entire school district, welcome to 2022-2023 school year. We are excited that we have our new superintendent. We'll be working very, very hard to ensure that we make positive strides in this school year. And we're looking forward to welcoming our teachers and all of our staff and students back for this school year and the convocation that will be held. Also, we are working to have a time of sharing so the community will be able to come and actually meet face-to-face and in person our new superintendent. We certainly are planning to have a meet and greet time, and that date and that particular event is forthcoming. And so we hope that our district stakeholders and parents and students and our constituents you'll look forward to that date and certainly join us in a brief reception meet and greet that we can share with our new superintendent, and you get to see him and meet him for yourself. Thus ends my report for tonight. All right, we're moving on to 5C with our monthly financial reports. And Dr. Williams, I don't know if you're handling that or is Ms. Boyd handling that?
That information, I am instructed to say, is made available to you. It's made available to you. Ms. Boyd is here? No? Okay, so this is for your information purposes. It's in your board packets. So please take a moment and peruse through that, read through it, analyze it, see where our expenditures are, see where our monies are, and we certainly can have discussion on that.
Is she there?
No, sir.
No.
She is not. I didn't hear you.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, all right. So Dr. Williams, are you going to briefly go over it, or, I mean, I know we have it in our packet and we normally give those numbers so the community can hear where we are financially, or if you want to just, I mean, we can have it for information tonight. Board, how do you all feel? Are you all right with information for tonight, and we can get it caught up next month? Well, it will be read next month.
Yes. Yes, that's fine.
Okay, all right, good enough then. All right. Our instructional report, we'll move on to letter 5D.
Good evening, board members, staff, and community members. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, I am here to present the final updates on our 2022 summer learning program. The Elevate K-12 online program well and Seek School's highly effective staff providing interventions so that students were able to master concepts and show proficiency on the re-administration of our EOC and EOG assessments, also on the Read to Achieve assessments, and on the recovering of high school credits. For academic enrollment, we had an average of 150 students per day, and for our enrichment session, we had an average of 125 students per day.
I'm sorry. Yes. As I share these pictures with you, please notice the smiles showcasing snapshots of the students' academic and enriching experiences as they participated in our summer learning program this summer. Our students were able to learn about college admissions and academic offerings while on college tours at Elizabeth City State, Shawan University, Shaw University, St. Augustine University, and East Carolina University. Our students were able to attend the Sylvan Heights Bird Park to learn about the Bird Builders program, to dissect owl pellets, and tour the zoo and the aquarium that is housed there. Students were able to strengthen their athletic skills by participating in our sports camp, which included football, cheerleading, baseball, weight training, and basketball with the assistance of the Squire basketball camp. Our students participated in karate lessons, dance lessons, drumming lessons. They learned about how to play instruments. They learned about agriculture and greenhouses. They learned how to speak Spanish. They created STEM projects. They learned how to fix computers. Students earned a Safe Serve and CTE credentials, and some of our CTE students participated in a paid internship funded by North Carolina A&T. Yesterday, our students had a splish splash day at Great Wolf Lodge in Williamsburg, Virginia, and they had a blast. So I want to thank the highly qualified summer school staff, our coordinators, teachers, child nutrition staff, our bus drivers, our custodial staff, our principals and central office staff for all of your efforts this summer, and to our parents, if you are listening, thank you for allowing your students to spend their summer with us. And that includes my instructional report. Any questions?
Any questions for Dr. Carpenter?
Dr. Carpenter,
Yes.
thanks to you and your team for making this happen for our students. We realized it was a lot because we rolled right out of school and trying to put some things in place. So you and team deserve to be applauded,
Thank you,
including
thank
our
you.
superintendent.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Carpenter. Certainly appreciate that report and all that assisted to make our summer learning program a great success.
Thank you.
Okay, our student services, Mr. Utrell.
Good evening, everyone.
Oh, I apologize, Ms. Fields. I thought Mr. Futrell was coming up. Okay.
Here's some updates from the Exceptional Children's Department. The head count as of July 21 is 114. The approved contracts for this school year so far are physical therapy, pending contracts with our current providers to include speech and occupational therapy. I've reached out to speech and OT and made those requests in writing. I spoke with the OT today, and he's confirmed that he is going to be submitting a contract to be considered by the board for the 22-23 school year. CADA blended services contract has also come in with updates that we received today. Compensatory services for June and July ended today with the summer session. Go ahead. Speech and occupational therapy compensatory services ended today. Compensatory roster available upon your request that indicates individual student hours at each school that has been completed for those parental approved services. I reached out to DPI consultant to make sure that the official guidance regarding compensatory hours are owed to those students who we have not received parental consent forms. With speech therapy, just to give a little description, we had 17 parental consents, with 11 out of those consents received speech services. 28 students remain without parental consent or speech services. Services were documented with a phone call and a letter home. Occupational therapy, 11 out of the 21 have signed consent for services. 7 out of those 11 signed consents have received occupational therapy services. However, we are receiving continuous OT updates in order to refresh the compensatory roster. Grants, IDA grant submissions. The IDA grant is regional coordinator approved as of July 13th. The grant approval is an ongoing process as regional coordinators review and approve their specific area. Final approval is still pending. With PRC 29, grant submission approval pending for new grant submission today. This included changes as suggested by the grant consultant. The school psychology grant, recruitment grant, PRC 204, approval pending also. Departmental vacancies, we have a few of those. We have behavior support specialist, the assistant position, occupational course of study at the high school, self-contained teacher at the middle school, and the resource teacher at the elementary school. Here are some preschool program updates. The total slots for preschool are 36. 27 applications are complete. 18 out of those 27 are Smart Start eligible. 24 slots are automatically funded by Smart Start per the 2-year extended contract. Acceptance letters have been distributed. Orientation is tentatively planned for the second week of August, facilitated by the family service specialist with CADA. Thank you.
All right.
Fields.
Are there questions for Ms. Fields?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, Ms. Fields, you said that we offered PT, OT, and speech this summer.
No PT, we didn't
Not
have physical
PT.
therapy,
Okay,
OT and speech.
okay, but you said they've already been approved for this year. They've already submitted the application to provide us with services. What did you say about PT that was approved?
Oh, yeah, the contract has been approved for
Okay,
this
okay.
school year, yes.
okay. The comp services that we mentioned, I know you said do we have any students left? You said we had 21 students, right? 11 sent
Is the-
applications.
Excuse
or
me, is this for speech or occupational
This
therapy?
is for OT.
Okay,
So 21 students, 11 sent letters, but only 7 received services.
11 out of the 21 have signed consent for services, and 7 out of those 11 signed consents have received occupational
Okay,
therapy
so that's-
services.
Okay. So for all of our students who need OT, PT, I'm sorry, OT and speech, because you said some did not receive it because they did the application, they didn't come. Do we have a plan in place for those students to get that compensatory services during the school year? Or are we gonna offer in a different setting throughout the summer?
Well, it's been my experience that the district has the right to design the compensatory services that are offered, and that's what was done here in Weldon. We had the therapists available. We sent letters out, followed up with phone calls, so we've done our part. The therapists were there at the school available, so parents did not bring their children, or they didn't respond to the initial letters and phone calls that they received also. So those children that showed up and came for services, they received their services.
So we have documented that we have put those things in place. We've reached out to parents in more than one mode of communication.
Yes, phone calls and letters.
Okay. PRC 29, you said that is being updated. You got an update on that today.
Yes, I submitted another, I made another submission today,
Okay,
and that included some feedback from the consultant,
okay.
from the PRC 29 behavior specialist.
So the numbers that's reflected in the grant as far as the financial piece, because I do know that at one point, the funding that was up there was less than what we received, was the same funding we received in 18. And we're now into 22, 23. So does those numbers reflect our current school year?
No, those were updated.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
They were updated to reflect our current numbers for the 22, 23 school year.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. Ms. Fields, is what you reported, is that also inclusive of the WIOA contract? I see it on the screen.
Was there a question? Okay.
So thank you for getting that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right. Board chair, board members, Superintendent Dr. Williams, give you a few updates from student services. I'll be mindful of the time to make sure we have room for that discussion area as I present. Just to add on, as Dr. Carpenter so greatly put, our students had a great time with summer college tours. The goal is to continue that into our school year as that becomes part of the culture that we develop of expectation to prepare students thinking beyond high school, whether that's through career or college. Also, in addition to the college tours that we took to St. Aug, Shaw, ECU, Showan, and Little City, right here on this campus, we were invited by the career college program coordinator and the administration and faculty here at Halifax Community College to invite our rising ninth grade students to an orientation to see all of the offerings that are available to them, to expose them early as rising ninth graders of the opportunities that we have right here in our backyard. And so we thought that was a good strategy to begin to increase our numbers toward career and college promise credentialed students, is to let them see, feel some of the experiences that are here. Our students, they had a great time in our cosmetology program, working on some of the mannequins and dolls and washing hair, and having the opportunity to see our industrial tech program, our welding and auto program. And so really was a hands-on experience for them that we hope is one strategy to help move us closer towards increasing those number of credentialed students. That was done really with the support of our summer learning staff, the support of our middle school and high school principals to make sure that happened. And also Ms. Sonia Robinson, our CCP kind of liaison here at the community college, was just awesome in organizing, making sure we had staff in place for that. So our Seo Professional Learning, we are currently in the process now of identifying items for our universal screener for social and emotional learning for the school year, working with Panorama, which you all called was an investment back in the spring that we had. And so right now we're looking at the items that we want to choose to assess students on through different domains so that we can see where they are, because it's important that we address their social and emotional learning needs as we begin to help make sure that they connect to the content that we're going to be readily teaching them this year. Our RISE conference, which is our state annual safety conference. I know there was some discussion in previous board meetings about the need for additional school resource officer or school resource officers in the district to make at our elementary school. And when I saw some correspondence come through from our executive director from Center for Safe Schools of North Carolina, talk about that in this year's budget, there has been additional monies provided for to have as many school resource officers as possible in our elementary and middle schools across the state. In addition to that, there's also additional monies that's going to be coming forward to help support what the state would identify as low wealth school districts to help with that, fill that gap of the match that is provided to bring about additional resource officers, as well as additional funds for equipment and training and responding to mental health needs to deter, to ensure that schools are safe. So we were just really excited to see that come across. I know that was already some discussion. And so each year we apply for the grant for safety. That was actually delayed because they have not released that for us to respond to yet, because they are waiting for that budget to ensure that maximum opportunities are provided for us to secure those funds in a manner that can be used the best way. So there's an update, and I'll be at the RISE conference the first week in August in Greensboro. And just to be honest with you, because of the events that are happening, this is probably they are saying one of the most well attended already registered for. I mean, it's going to be a very packed conference, and so we need representation there. So I'll be there because the state is really supporting school districts and ensuring that those crisis plans are in place, and that'll be something that I'm sure is going to be monitored, checked, and audited to ensure that school districts have crisis plans in place, especially now more than ever because of some of the more recent events that have happened across in the nation. WIOA, I did include a
Mr.
contract.
Futrell,
Yes,
if you don't mind pausing for just 1 second before you go into the rest of your presentation, because we did add the school district SROs to our agenda tonight, and I want to make sure that Mrs. Jenkins' concern with our SROs, if that was addressed at this point, or did we need to have further discussion in number 9B?
No, we don't. I just wanted to know that someone was on top of it. And as soon as we can we get that? I would like to see that done. I really would, as soon as we can. We need that for the safety.
Can you all speak up a little bit? It's hard to hear you.
So what, Brother Sykes?
I said, can you speak up a little bit? I can't hear you.
I was just telling him that he had answered my question, and I don't need further discussion on it, but I would like for him to make that as a priority so he could go in on the safety of our kids.
Okay, all right.
So I'm good.
Thank you.
yes, ma'am. And I will make sure that once that opens up, that will be included as one of our priorities in that grant is included, since that there is monies available. So thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Futrell.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead on with the rest of your presentation.
Okay. The next is the WIOA, which I have included a copy of the 2022-2023 contract. In that, you will find the responsibilities of both us as Weldon City Schools as the contractor, as well as Turning Point as those overseeing the grant funds. One thing to make note of from this year to previous years, we did receive a significant significant less amount this year, about $20,000 less that we're being offered. And we're going to have to really think critically about the budget and what that budget looks like if we decide to proceed with this particular contract. Today, this is just a contract to say that we accept to continue to partner with Turning Point to accept funds. We do have to return this contract back by August 5th to Turning Point if we decide to move forward with the contract. But then we will have to think real hard and be strategic about the budget that goes along with this contract because of the reduction that we have received this year because of, like many things, with cuts and things like that. So, and I know there was some questions that I wanted to pause if we want to do, or we're doing.
Okay. So,
Ms. Bird Robinson, if you want to chime in with your questions now.
yes. Okay, so a couple of things. So the total budget for this grant this is a 54,000. Okay?
Yes.
Does this 54,000 include salary, benefits, and the money that's allocated for children?
Yes, it includes the budget that we currently have in place would include that, but there will be reductions in all those areas you just included.
Okay, but the reduction is the 54,000, or is it going to be even less?
The reduction was from like 70. I won't speak, but it's about $20,000 reduction from last year. So we had a close to over 70,000 last year.
Okay, so that's okay.
So,
So with that being said, it says that it serves 30 plus youth. How many students do we have currently in this?
right.
And what is actually happening? I mean, what do they do?
So we just had a monitoring visit on Monday from Turning Point, who is directly coordinated to the Workforce Development Commission, which is part of the Department of Commerce. And had a very, I would say, elaborate monitoring visit where there's a platform that houses all of the data for our students that are participating, and every student that participates has to be managed within that platform. And we had 15 students this year who were being reported as part of this program because of those are also how we've allocated funds this year. Now, next year, we do have a plan in place to make sure that we do meet and we are at 30 students, because we do want to also broaden the reach of students that are participating. Primarily this year and in previous years, it's been students at Weldon STEM High School Career Academy. And so next year, we've had discussion about also including it for students at RVET. And we are confident that we can get our 30 students that way.
So what services are we providing to students under this grant?
Yeah, so there's been a plan drafted for this year that would include a range of services almost along a work-based learning continuum that exposes students to first, like career awareness through career interest inventories to make sure that we have all these 30 students, there's a career interest inventory on file for them, right? We know that they've taken that assessment and identified their top 3 areas of interest, or career clusters, as we would call them, so that we can then begin to connect those students to various job shadowing opportunities. We might call those students in for some type of guest speaker. If there's let's just say out of those 30 students, you might have 10 students who are interested in mechanics, right? And so we might have a guest speaker who comes in monthly. That is how we drafted this plan for the upcoming year, is to have a guest speaker who is going to talk about, well, what does it take to be a diesel mechanic, right? So that's kind of the exposure piece. And then following up with some type of experiences along that work-based learning continuum, where students might actually go visit Caterpillar and see what types of work they actually do day to day, right? And so it really has to be a really more robust plan. I would say that's part of my work that I've done so far, and to help develop it to what I know it can be to help support and serve those students in that way.
So out of this 54,000, how much is allocated to for the students?
So the current budget, and I don't have that right from, but the current budget has about 1,300 allocated to those students for the work-based learning component, right? So at the end of each year, there are a identified number of students who may work to receive payment for their services in participating in the grant, right? But then there are also program supports that might help a student apply for a job at Applebee's, that they will be paid as an employee, whether that might be helping them with application, resume writing, interview skills. And so all of those become part of the consultations, the one-on-ones that are happening with check-ins each week between coordinator and student. And so those type of things will be vitally important to ensure that not only are we relying on these funds for the actual payout of students, which is very important, but also the skill development where we're having them to be employable.
So we're going to be able to do all that, pay a salary, benefits and all of that with $54,000.
It's going to be challenging. It's going to be very challenging to do that.
So is this something that, because I know that the money is limited, is this something that can be incorporated to like other positions kind of dissolve, and then so that the students can continue, or the students can get the services that they are supposed to get?
Yes, so I considered that when our small finance committee met, there was some discussion about how to make that happen. And that was a few days right before the monitoring visit, where I also learned a lot about the program and its reporting requirements. And so during that time, I was thinking like, well, we possibly could add some additional support, or however we want to, make that happen to ensure that everything I just said actually takes place, because there's lots of crossover between programs that already exist. A lot of what I just said probably resonates with you with career and technical education, things like that. And so, but when a few days later, the monitoring visit happened, and I was introduced to this platform, which is on part of this contract, really on the item 3, where it talks about our reporting requirement and obligation. And I would wonder if it would be possible for it to add that on to any one person who already has full-time responsibilities right now because it requires a lot. There's sensitive information uploaded into this platform. When you're talking about employability skills and things like that that are necessary that must really be checked. As I learned Monday through this monitoring visit, even currently, there are some things that had to be adjusted and, with sensitive information. And so I would be a little bit reserved in thinking that someone could just add that and manage that platform, because that is a responsibility of us as a contractor to ensure that happens with this agreement.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir, Mr. Williams.
want to ask Mr. Futrell a question. In the past, after the school year has started, there have been another drop of money. Do you anticipate that this year? I know you can't count on money on another man's hip pocket, but does it look promising to get that drop in maybe October, November?
Yes, sir, absolutely. Also, that was how they closed out our monitoring visit. Of course, they can't give us anything with certainty, but there are many programs operating under this bucket of funds at the regional level that there will be some carryover usually where there are some programs that didn't. Now we spent every dollar last year, which is good. And there might be some programs that didn't, that Turning Point might also monitors and holds accountable who didn't. And there may be some carryover and we would just have to request that. So you're exactly right, sir.
And so it won't be said I'm discriminating in another man's hip pocket or another woman's hip pocket.
Yes, sir.
I guess I'm just concerned about the services, the history of, because I want our children to get everything that we can possibly put in place for them. But this has to be carried out with fidelity.
Yes, yeah. And I think work closely with Dr. Carpenter. As I said, there's a lot of crossover between, I think, programming. And I think we just have to be really creative in how we ensure that those supports happen with students. A lot of this, as I recall from my monitoring visit, a lot of those, the criteria of students who would qualify to be participants also would be special population students, right? And so we know there are areas that Dr. Carpenter and where I work with together that we can probably be creative in what that support looks like, what those supports look like.
And accountability.
And accountability, yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? If not, thank you so much, Mr. Futrell. We really appreciate you presenting to us this evening and making sure that we get that information.
Thank you so much. I'll now turn it over, if it's okay, to Mr. Lynch for the athletics component.
Mr. Futrell, do you need the board to approve this contract? Are you seeking approval of this contract?
We usually have to.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Yes. So it is an action item. It would be an action item.
The WIOA contract is an action item. Correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Board members, then a motion is in order that we would support this particular contract.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the 2022-23 WIOA contract.
Okay.
Maybe add to it.
All right. Is there a second?
Mrs. Jenkins second.
Okay, I didn't hear her. I can't hear her. Does Ms. Jenkins have a microphone close to her?
I don't need one.
I heard you then, but you don't speak up like that every time. I'm straining. All right. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Question.
Ms. Hale, question.
Is this essentially the same type of, the same contract from last year? Minus the dollar amount? Yes. Because we're just receiving it tonight. I just want to make sure the wording is the exact same Well,
Or not?
because, I mean, we haven't had a chance to really look over it. That's gonna be my concern.
Yes, I have not compared word for word from previous years this year, but it's my understanding in my Garnett monitoring visit that this is essentially the same contract.
Just dollar amount,
Just
just
dollar
changes.
amount.
Okay,
I did notice that. Mr. Chair.
okay.
And there won't be any further changes to what you brought today?
No.
Okay, board members, we do have a motion on the floor that has been motioned by Mr. Williams and seconded by Mrs. Jenkins that we move forward with the WIOA contract as it has been presented to us tonight. You heard that motion. Any further discussion on readiness? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, would you let it be known by your voice vote? Ms. Kay Robinson?
Aye.
All right, Mr. Williams?
Yeah.
Mrs. Jenkins? Ms. Bird Robinson? Ms. Bird
Yes.
Robinson?
Aye.
Ms. Hale?
Aye.
And Mrs. Harrison?
Yes.
And O.D. Sykes, aye. Record reflect unanimous approval for the WIOA contract. All right.
And if it'll be okay now if I turn it over to the last portion of this slide to Mr. Lynch to just share some
Yes.
priorities to all regarding affidavits.
Yes.
All right.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Tonight, I would like to talk to you briefly about 4 items that our athletic department is in desperate need of to assure the safety for all our student athletes and all our fans. The first one is about inadequate lighting on our football field. As of right now, we're only operating at about 45% of normal lighting on our football field. There are only 32 of 59 bulbs working properly on our football field at this time.
What was that?
32 of 59 bulbs that are working, yes. Light bulbs, yes. And I just don't think that it is safe for our fans or the opposing team fans to be walking in the dark to our restroom areas or approaching or leaving our facilities at night. As far as quotes, I have some quotes, but Mr. Futrio will have the exact quotes. If you want to speak with him later, or I can just give you some roundabout figures if you'd like to hear one at least.
Go ahead, Mr. Lynch.
Could you say that again?
He said you can go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
Right now, we're looking at about $162,000 to fix all the lights, to have adequate lighting out there. And that's to have the lights put on the existing poles that we already have out there.
And what kind of bulbs would these be, Mr. Lynch?
LEDs. We want to change over from the traditional light bulbs to the LEDs. The bulbs that are out there now are obsolete. We can't even get them anymore.
Okay.
And we also have 7 home games this season here.
You have quotes from more than one for the lighting? You have more than one quote from different companies?
We're working on 2 more.
Okay.
All right.
The next item I would like to talk about is a Sport Cool Power Team Drinker. This is a hydration system in which several athletes can drink cold water at the same time. The system also allows students to be able to drink without making contact with their mouth or face to the nozzle and pass on to the other students. The system also will have wheels for easy transport, and that will help the coaches and the athletes out a lot. They, keep us from toting coolers from the gym to the field, especially with 7 home games this year. You're looking at about $1,500 for a system like that. The next one would be 3 racking systems for the weight room. These racking systems will replace the 3 existing benches in there that are very lightweight and they are improperly installed. Okay. On Tuesday, we had an expert to come in to assess our training facilities. He suggested at least 8 systems of this kind would be needed for a school of our size and the number of athletes that we have and the number of students that we have in our PE classes. But instead of 8, I'm only asking for 3. And you're looking at maybe about in between $10,000 and $11,000 to get these racking systems along with the weights and everything. There'll be rubber weights that if they drop on the floor, you know, they're a lot safer to have with those types of weights come with the system. And the last thing is
Coach
it had.
Lynch, let me stop you right there.
Yes, go
So you
ahead.
said if we get 3, that's 10 to 11,000.
Yes,
You said that the others are improperly installed. So with this $10,000 to $11,000, is the company gonna have someone install them?
yes,
Okay.
yes. And the last thing I'd like to talk about is a high jump pit and hurdles for our track and field team. Right now, we do not have a high jump pit, nor do we have, well, we have about 3 hurdles out there that are not working properly. And both of these items are very important in order to have a successful track and field team. So we're looking at about $11,000 with both of those events, if we could purchase those. And that is it. And I would like to say, if possible, you know, can you please help us to solve some of these safety issues if you can? And I will take any questions now if you guys have any.
All right, questions? I don't have a question, but Mr. Lynch, I do have a comment,
Yes.
especially in our weight room for a school our size. If we need to have, what did you say, 8 benches? What was
I'm
it?
only asking for 3, but the expert said that a school of our size with the number of people in our PE class, 8 would be probably a good amount to have.
Well, I would just throw out, I heard you asking for 3, but even if we don't do the 8, I think we ought to at least strive to do 5. That's a little greater than 50%. And that will put us closer to the number of 8. I don't know what the price would be for that, but I would say a minimum of 5 with that information of the number of students and even the number of students that's in PE, and I'll say that's in our athletic program. I think a minimum of 5 would be a fair number. That will put us over the 50% mark.
I agree. And I can get you a quote on file. I can get it to Mr. Futrell by tomorrow or Monday.
And that lighting, that's something that we have to move on very quickly. So I hope that you all will have some quotes to bring to us no later than our next board meeting, because we have to move on that expeditiously.
Yes, sir. We'll have them for you.
Any other question?
Thank you.
Mr. Lynch, thank you for bringing us that information, striving to keep our student athletes safe and in compliance with the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. Thank you so much. All right, we moving on to letter F now, school health. School health.
Good evening, board members,
Good evening.
Superintendent Dr. Williams. And on to school health. An update on our COVID positive cases for students as of the 18th of this month. We just have 2 at the elementary school and 1 at Arvec for a total of 3 district-wide. There was only 1 that was in our COVID testing program, and then the other 2 were outside of our testing programs. They could be at-home test kit, person with bill and bag, went to a clinic. But the positive case was notified by me by the school nurse or another staff member. And for the staff member, the COVID positive cases for the staff members, we just had one and they were at the high school. And for our monthly covering review, the current policy is all K-12 staff, students and visitors have the option to wear face coverings or face shield or mask under all indoor settings and bus settings, including the central office.
Just for clarification, you no longer are required to review that every month. That was for the 2021-2022 school year. Now that that has ended, you no longer have to vote on that every month.
Okay.
All right, good. So we no longer have to take action on that. Any questions for Mr. Miller concerning the program?
Yes,
Testing program? Yes.
yes.
Go ahead.
So, Mr. Miller, for the upcoming school year, are we gonna continue the services with Mako on the same day? Because I think we're doing it on, was it Mondays?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Mondays. And we're going to start right back up August 15th when school is back in session.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
All right, any other question? All right, thank you, Mr. Miller. And thank you, Ms. Murchison. We were not aware, I know I wasn't aware that we no longer had to take action on that. That'll save us a little time.
A little bit of time, yep.
All right,
Did we, I guess this question is for Mr. Futrell. Did we make mention about the, or Coach Lynch, the success that we had for our physicals for our students?
Absolutely. We had great success with the partnership with Dr. Miller, who a local physician who offered physicals to our middle school and high school students on July the 29th of this year. June 29th, sorry. June 29th. And really was a success. We had approximately 50 students, middle school, high school students who have a physical now already in place to participate in middle school and high school athletics. And honestly, I mean, the partnership allowed us to offer them free for these students. And so we're grateful for that. We are already planning our next one before students return. And we'll be solidifying. We just want to make sure that no conflicts as school year starts. But we're looking for just another successful event where our students will receive physical. So thank you so much for highlighting, making sure that that was highlighted today. And Nurse Gray and Coach Lynch did a great job in helping to facilitate and ensuring that happened. And our parents did a great job making sure that students were there. So awesome.
all right, thank you so much.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
just before Ms. Garner comes up, I would like to say to Coach Lynch, I saw in the paper today where I think it was Charlene Johnson. She played basketball, she played softball and volleyball, but she was recognized by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association as having a heart of champions. And there were only 19 students in the state that received that. And she did receive that. And I know they had some comments from Coach Neville, softball and volleyball. I would like to congratulate you on that accomplishment as well.
And thank you. And Shay was the freshman.
South.
She came down with Coach Lieutenant last week on the 12th to receive that award.
Awesome.
Great deal.
That's awesome. Yes.
thank you for that highlight, Mr. Williams. I was not aware of that. Appreciate you sharing that with us tonight.
Yes, sir.
All right, ready for Ms. Garner now?
Thank you. Good evening, Board Chair, Co-Chair, Board members, and Dr. Williams. I stand before you to acknowledge Weldon's
school nutrition team for working together, encouraging each other to improve their skills. Our school nutrition team consists of 10 strong in our department. I am proud to say we now have 9 Serve Safe certified staff members. I also would like to recognize Christy Edmonds and myself. We also have successfully completed the following requirements for becoming a registered Serve Safe examination proctor. A special thanks to Ms. V, which we all know, our very own Weldon High School, Ms. Rollins, for her time, her patience, and most of all, her dedication to Weldon City Schools. And I would also like to thank our board and Dr. Williams for your support of our program. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Garner, and that's a success in Weldon, and we certainly want to make sure that we celebrate that success along with what Mr. Williams said about one of our student athletes that attends our schools. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
All right, I don't think we need a break. Everybody's in favor of moving on, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Public forum. Dr. Williams, do we have anyone for public forum?
Yes, sir. We do have one person to speak. That is a Ms. Brooks for
All right.
public comment.
Okay. Ms. Hale, since you were there, do you have, or can you keep the time for us?
Yes, 3 minutes. 2 last minute, let it go on.
Excuse me? What'd you say, Ms. Hale?
I said, yes, I do have it. I'm gonna start the timer.
Okay, if you can set it for 3 minutes and hello, Ms. Brooks. And whenever you are ready, Ms. Hale will begin with the time. Everybody ready?
Yes.
Good afternoon to all. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing to you, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. I prepared words of encouragement for the new superintendent and thank yous to the following men: Dr. Dennis Sawyer, Mr. James Lynch, the late Bishop Ralph Daly. If time permit, I will share. If not, next month. A Weldon City Schools Year in Review, 2021-22 by Regina Brooks. Dr. Congleton left you with ESSA funds. Be careful how you use your grants. I worked with Cynthia J. Harris, the master grant writer. Follow the guidelines to the T so you won't be wearing orange suits or jumpsuits. I was sanctioned because someone in Weldon City Schools and other Tier 1 counties did not follow compliance. Be very careful. You elected a new superintendent after a worldwide search that ended up in Granville County with a superintendent from among 40 candidates unanimously approved for a short stay. Nugget of wisdom. Approximately 35 years ago, Dr. Emmett Floyd, who was then superintendent of Pitt County Schools and a professor at East Carolina University, where I attended, was a candidate for Winston-Salem Forsyth County School System. He invited his class to watch him in a televised interview. It was an eye-opening experience. In 2022, you, Weldon City School Board, you're still operating a closed system. I applied to assist students in the role of a substitute, sent all the necessary information, more than enough, physical form, vaccination, cover letter, references, never heard a response, waiting for a substitute workshop, only to learn that a retired employee was hired all year. And when I asked her, how did you get to do this? She said, Jesus. I said, boy, I need to talk to that Jesus. I told her that I need to apply to that Jesus. When I investigated further, your personnel assistant said, and she wrote, Mrs. Brooks would like to know when her name would be taken to the board to be voted on. And I kindly told her that's not what I asked. This was 3 or 4 months later. I corrected her, and I'm still waiting for a response. Reference forms were sent, and one person, Ms. Harriet Walker Pavon Rosada, I wonder why they didn't send Dr. Kenneth Hammond and Miss Eunice Ward reference forms. I guess because Ms. Harriet Pavon Rosada worked with Weldon City Schools, but so much for that. Be careful, Weldon City Schools. Alicon and Miller, they have a new partner, Mrs. Jenkins, and I'm calling Mrs. Jenkins because she was here. Sometimes you need to find a professional like Mr. Ken Sue, who was with Weldon City Schools Board as a board attorney when I came, and I highly respect him, and so do my husband.
Ms. Brooks, Ms. Hale said that your 3 minutes.
Excuse me?
Excuse me? She said that your 3 minutes were up.
Oh, thank you so much. See you next month.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Moving on to number 8, HCC Board of Trustees appointment. Ms. Hale has asked that we have some discussion on that tonight. And Ms. Hale, if you want to begin that discussion.
I was just thinking that, because the person that was appointed the last time, that was just to fulfill or to carry out a term. And now this person will be beginning a new term, and I just feel like in order for us to be fair about it, for us to open it up and to see if anyone else is interested, it may not be someone interested, but to be fair, we're trying to change course here and be fair about things. So I think that we need to start with this.
Okay, let me share very quickly. HCC did send a letter to us. Trying to think when it was last month. They sent a letter asking for me to sign off on the reappointment of Ms. Board. And of course, I told Ms. Jenkins when they came in, they work at the central office, there was nothing that I could sign off on as the board chairperson until the board made a decision that, whether Ms. Board was going to carry on or not. I personally don't have any problem with her being our appointed person for the HCC Board of Trustees. But if it is the desire of the board that you want to advertise it, that's fine too. But please know, if we go through a process of advertising, which I'm not saying we should not, that means that it's 1 month or 2 months, however long it takes for us to appoint a person that we would not have representation on our HCC board. So however you want to proceed, I'm totally fine with it.
Well, I'll just want to say and have it on record also. I don't have a problem with her doing it as well. My thing is, we need to just be fair about situations and things that go on within our district.
I agree.
So I'll ask you.
It does not have to be an entire month or 2 or however long it was the last time. It does. I mean, we can extend it open it up for maybe 2 weeks or something. It does not have to go along. It doesn't have to be long and drawn out.
I agree with that, but my point of saying that is we still won't be able to take that up for a vote until our next board meeting, which will be approximately a month away. So if we go 2 weeks, that's fine, but we still won't be able to take that up for consideration to actually take a vote until we come back for our next board meeting, which, as I said, is approximately a month away. our next board meeting is scheduled for August the 18th. That's right, when our students and staff will, they will just return to school on the 15th. But if we want to advertise it, we can do that. I don't have any problem with that. I think we just need to keep in mind that we need to, as you said, Ms. Hale, if we're gonna do it 2 weeks and be ready to take a vote in August, if that is the consent of the board.
If I may, the board has the authority to appoint. I have seen other districts allow board members to make nominations. So if there are board, that I've not seen it open where anyone can throw their name in the hat. I have seen often a process whereby board members could nominate a member to them. So there may be a list of names for board to choose from.
Okay, so board members, how do you want to proceed?
I think to be fair to open it up.
Okay, I heard two say that, so let me just poll real quick because we're pushing at a time limit now. Ms. Harrison, what is your desire?
I'm okay with opening it up.
Okay, Ms. Jenkins,
Okay, with opening it up.
Mr. Williams,
I'm okay with it, but I like the nomination process.
okay, so you want to come to, you're saying in opening it up, I guess we also can come to the next board meeting and make nominations as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Kay Robinson?
I agree with the nomination process.
All right. That has it then. We will have it where persons in our community, because of course they must reside in the Welland City Schools District in order to have this appointment. And we will also entertain nominations at our next board meeting that right now is scheduled for August the 18th.
Chair Sykes, Reverend
Yes.
Sykes, would you like to close the period of time in which the public can submit their name and a date as well in which board members would submit nominations so that you all will be ready and in a position to vote at your next meeting?
I'm in favor of that. Can board members, can we agree to, well, our staff will be out tomorrow. Today is the last day of the work week. Can we say the process is open July the 25th and maybe we close it on the 5th of August or either the 8th of August at close of business? And then that'll give, well, I'll say the 8th of August, close of business, then that'll give us a solid 2 weeks. Right? 1, 2, 3. No, that'll give us a solid 3 weeks. And then we'll have our board meeting on the 18th. Is everybody good with that?
That works for me.
They get 2 weeks.
So Dr. Williams, if you can, and we have some verbiage from the last time, if we can make sure that is posted, any person that is interested on July the 25th, and then let them know that the date to send submissions, and even for us as board members to make nominations, that would close August the 8th, close of business.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to the capital needs grant. And board members, you all know that we agreed last school year to apply for the capital needs-based grant. And how do you all feel about us applying again for that grant? As of today, I do not recall, or I haven't seen it where the application has actually dropped from the state yet. Dr. Williams, have you seen anything any different?
No, sir. Mr. Futrell indicated that it should be dropping about the 1st of August.
Okay,
If about the 1st of August, that should be dropping. And as soon as it does, Mr. Futrell and I will be looking at that and digging into the application process.
okay. And board members, let me ask, I know one of the commissioners, Mr. Patrick Qualls, he's talked to a few of the board members. He called myself and he told me he called Mr. Williams and he called Ms. Bird Robinson, asking about this grant as far as the county partnering with us in writing this grant in that respect. And I don't have any problem with writing the grant, but I think it is floating out there the possibility of moving the high school from the current location down to the location where the middle school is. And I know when that was talked about before, this board as a whole said that we did not want the possibility of a new high school going to the same campus as the middle school with all of the problems that we had at the middle school with walls cracking and tile popping up because of the water problem that we have down there. And so I guess along those lines, we need to have some conversation tonight. So when the application actually opens up, and hopefully it will open up before the next board meeting actually takes place, that we can have some things in place that we could actually be voting on of how we're going to proceed or doing the grant, or the board wants to take the position tonight that we'll entertain conversation with county commissioners as far as trying to secure this grant. Conversation?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I think that if the commissioners are going to do the feasibility study and gonna cover fees for the grant, that we should look at that. I'm opposed to going to the middle school now. No doubt about that. I think the high school should stay where the high school is now. But if they're not gonna really move until they do the feasibility, and then they're gonna still cover the fees for the grant, supposed from someone that's professional and has really experience in it, I really don't see any harm in it, as long as we make it known that we want the high school to remain where the high school is, and we're not interested in moving the high school to the middle school. If anything, move the middle school up there where the high school is. But I wouldn't dare say move the high school to a different location.
I'm in total agreement with what you said, Mr. Williams. And I'm not I don't disagree with us using our resources to make sure that we are successful in the grant. I'm all in favor of that. But I think it needs to be made known, as you said, we're not interested in moving the high school from the current location. We are interested in having the high school where it is, and especially when this board has approved. I mean, we just put over $200,000 what this board approved into putting central heat and air in our gym. I mean, no need of just throwing money away like that, because we were, considering keeping our gym in the process of going forward. But I'm in total agreement. And of course, you all remember we discussed it at the retreat briefly that we had the end of June when we were at Carolina Beach for one of our conferences. We discussed it briefly in our retreat, but of course we did not make any decision one way or the other, because that was just a retreat. It was not for any type of action. So we'll hear other board members at this time.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I have not received any calls from any commissioners, but I would like to say this. I I would not like to see our high school moved. We need to stay a community school in our community, accessible to our students, our parents, and our community. And whatever we decide, it needs to be in writing if we move forward with the commissioners, so that everyone will have it clear and concise of what we would like to approve and what we would not like to have happen. As far as I've been told through other board members who have received calls, it's not a feasibility study that they plan to do. They plan to hire the architect that plans to do the outline for the new facility, for the construction, and to pay the grant writer. So all of that needs to be written out, because now I'm hearing feasibility study, and that's not a part of the grant process. It's an architect that needs to be hired to make sure that everything is concrete with the construction grant. And so all of that needs to be put in writing with the signature from our board, from our chair, along with the signature from the chair of the county commissioners. And those are the two people who need to be discussing this. That's our protocol, and that's how we should proceed, unless it's our superintendent and the county manager.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Not interested in moving our school.
I'm not interested either with moving the school. But I do agree with you, Ms. Robinson. Also, whatever is gonna be done, need to be in writing,
It's very clear.
and black and white.
All right, Ms. Jenkins and Ms. Harrison.
Yes, Ms. Robinson, Kim Robinson said, no, I didn't receive no call from the commissioners either. I did, but I do not want to have the high school move down to the middle school. So, yeah. Let it stay where it's at.
All right, Ms. Jenkins.
I feel the same way, but I'm like Mr. Williams. But I would not like to see our high school. That when we are high school, we go down to 1. And then, but I would like to see feasibility done down there on that study, but not to move our school, and not to be about our school.
All right. So with that being said, once again, the board's decision or the consent of the board is unanimous that we are not interested in moving our high school. We're interested in keeping the high school where it is, constructing on site where the present high school is. So you all have said it, and this meeting is being held tonight. So I will be glad because Mr. Qualls called me and he asked me to basically expedite the trying to talk with somebody as far as grant was concerned to get the ball rolling. And of course I let him know that I'm the board chairperson, but I don't have the authority to expedite anything in that respect. That's out of the realm of my authority as the chairperson of the board. That the board would actually have to say that we would be willing to enter into something with the county commissioners. So is that your consent tonight, board members, as we move forward with the capital needs grant when the application comes open? Is that your desire tonight?
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, we will begin. I will talk with Dr. Williams, and next week, Dr. Williams, we'll try to have a meeting Monday and see what the county commissioners, and I don't even know if the county commissioners have taken it up. I don't know if they have discussed it as far as an open vote is concerned. I have talked to another commissioner besides Mr. Qualls, and they told me that it had not come before the full board for a vote in that respect. So we do have some irons in the fire. We know that, and it is, I will say, this board's opinion or desire that we move forward in a fashion that is feasible and pleasing, where everybody can live with, and all of our concerns can be addressed. So Dr. Williams, you and Mr. Futrell will begin, I guess, reaching out. If you can reach out to the county manager and just said that the board has, consented that we would see as far as the grant writer and all is concerned, we're willing to explore that and see how things will evolve.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, board members, and I will reach out to Mr. Qualls and let him know, because I told him that we would take it up for discussion tonight. And since you all have consented, I'll reach out to him and let him know, because he's the commissioner that called me. All right. Thank you so much. And we at about a 25-minute window according to the clock on my screen. So we got to move along, board members. 9A, leadership program. Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. My concern is that we have this year and in the past had individuals to be in leadership programs. This past year, we had an individual that served as an internship at the middle school and at the high school as tentatively, or better like the term, assistant principal. And I know we can offer position to the individual in the process if we want to hire them as a assistant principal, dean of students, or whatever the case may be. But I feel that we're going the wrong way when we select people to be in the leadership program, and then we don't offer them a leadership position. As Dr. Williams has stated earlier, we want to try to grow our own. The individual has been in the school system, held several positions. We just need to make sure that when we put people in a leadership program, we're working with these colleges and universities, that they can see the result of someone that they have encouraged and they thought met the process or the requirements to be in the leadership program. And then we don't offer a leadership program. And then we have the individuals to go off to another school and get into a leadership program. I just think we need to put those people in leadership positions. And we're not going to put those individuals in leadership positions, then don't really waste a school year put them into positions in our school system. I just think we're going backwards when we do that. Thank you, sir.
All right. Yes, sir. Any comment or question?
Mr. Chair, I do agree with Mr. Williams as far as we need to have a leadership program. We need to grow our own. And we need to, that will also help in retaining our own employees.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? All right. Thank you so much. We've already addressed 9B. Ms. Jenkins said that she was fine with what Mr. Futrell said earlier concerning our school district SROs and the fact that grant opportunities may be coming available to handle that as well. So we'll be looking to see how that's going to shape up after our superintendent talks with the sheriff as far as SROs. It's already been duly noted that we want an SRO at the elementary school, middle school, and high school. So we do have that. Dr. Williams has that in his communication with our sheriff. I think they're just waiting to set up a time to meet. Isn't that right, Dr. Williams?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. And the grant funding, as far as Mr. Futrell was talking about, we're hoping that will be made available for us as well. All right, 9C, I'll talk very, very briefly about 1 minute. Board members, I really would like for us to look at raising the threshold for our superintendent for purchasing. Right now, I think it is $10,000, and I think we ought to look at possibly raising that to 15,000. Just looking at some of the current needs that are within the district. That there are some contracts that are just over the threshold, where if the superintendent had a few more $1,000s, we could have gotten some things already taken care of. And of course, Dr. Williams would let us know what those things are before they're actually done. So that's just brief discussion tonight. I know that's in our policy, and we would have to make a change to that particular policy. So hopefully we can look at that as we are going towards next month, policy 6420, I believe it is. We'll look at that, and if we're going to make some changes to that, we can look at that next month and going forward. And if we're going to change it, we can agree that we're going to change the verbiage, and then we'll have to do our first and second read for that particular policy for our district, and then it would be coming into effect. Isn't that correct, Ms. Murchison, our attorney? I think that's the way it goes, correct?
Yes, as an existing policy, you don't need 2 readings. You could pass it on first reading. I believe your policy allows for that when it's a revision as opposed to a brand new policy. So the board is in favor of changing this. We could bring verbiage back next month, and if the board desires, you could pass that next month, or you could review the language and hold it for another month. Either way is fine.
Okay. Board members, would you all agree to that? That we can get the verbiage and see how everything will look, and if we're satisfied next month, we can take that up for consideration then?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Moving on to number 10, facilities contract. We see those contracts, and if you want to share them very briefly, Dr. Williams, either you or Mr. Futrell, and we can move along with that. Or everyone has looked at them, the Weldon, Central Office HVAC and the Weldon Middle School sewer tank repair. Are there any questions on that? Or if you want Mr. Futrell to present it?
So there's one update. There's no central office HVAC. There's one update. There is no longer a central office HVAC contract at this time.
Okay.
Work with another contract to get Dr. Williams and his assistant air without that right now.
Okay. All right.
All right. So we'll keep you updated if anything changes. But right now, we will not need any contract for that.
Okay. If you all are in favor with the septic tank repair being the only one, or if you want to just tell us real quick, Mr. Futrell.
Oh, sure. So the contract for the Weldon Middle School sewer tank pump is to ensure that it's kind of been an ongoing issue because of the current design of that sewer tank. The electrical components are in the actual wet well, and anytime electricity mixes with water, you're going to have shortages, and so that's what happens continuously. And so this work is really to eliminate that in the future so that we don't have backups and things like that in sewer, and we maintain environmental and safety, compliance with our sewer at middle school.
Need a motion, Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir. If we don't have any questions.
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve the contract with Weldon Middle School sewer tank repair.
Second.
It's been motioned by Mr. Williams, and who offered that second?
Ms. Hale.
Ms. Hale, been seconded by Ms. Hale, that we move forward with the Weldon Middle School sewer tank repair contract. You've heard that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, would you let it be known by your voice vote? Sykes, aye. Ms. K. Robinson?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Ms. Hale?
Aye.
Ms. Jenkins? Ms. Jenkins?
She said aye.
Okay, I can't hear her at all. Ms. Bird Robinson?
Aye.
Okay, all right. Let the record reflect unanimous approval of the said contract that has been presented by Mr. Futrell. Thank you so much. Number 11, we have our technology equipment proposal. Is Mrs. Gupton coming to share that?
I will try to make this as quick as possible. I have a presentation to further explain the need for replacing the equipment at the central office, which basically runs the whole district. Tonight I'm going to talk, I'm sorry, first let me apologize, let me properly speak. Good afternoon, Mr. Sykes, Ms. Bird Robinson, members of the board, and also everyone in attendance.
Good
Tonight,
evening.
I'm going to talk about a proposal for server equipment replacement. Okay. Okay. One of our technology project goals is to replace the current server equipment because of the limited lifespan remaining. We currently have one Dell SAN, which is considered to be our storage area network, and also 2 Dell servers. We would like to continue purchasing server equipment, support, and services from Tiber Creek to implement phases to transfer data and also replace the equipment. The success of the project is dependent upon approval from the board. I am going to address the curious questions: who, what, when, where, how, and why. Who is Tiber Creek? Tiber Creek is a vendor who works with K-12 education systems, providing the best support and services to their customers from start to finish, creating an efficient and strategic plan of action. We are currently a customer of Tiber Creek. You're wondering, what is the issue? What is the goal? Our current equipment has exceeded its lifespan and beyond. The SAN equipment is 5 years old, currently out of warranty, and only 1 out of the 2 power supplies are working. Our servers are 8 years old and out of warranty. The goal is to replace the equipment before it becomes inoperable, which would affect the entire district. If you look at this diagram, this is a setup of some of our equipment that is in the server room. The piece of equipment that you see in the middle is the SAN equipment. What you see highlighted in red and also circled in red is the failed power supply. Again, this equipment has 2 power supplies, so right now it is only running on 1. Below that are 2 servers, in which we currently have 2 servers that needs to be replaced. Above that, you have clients, which are your devices. So what happens if the SAN fails, shuts completely down, that affects the servers, which turns into a ripple effect, which affects the computers, laptops, whatever devices are connected to our network. When would we like to implement this project? We would like to implement it as soon as possible, but we have to be realistic about it. We would like to proceed with finalizing a proposal and working alongside a Tiber Creek to start implementing phases to begin working towards transferring data and replacing the equipment in the very near future. Where would this server equipment be replaced at? Central office. So the equipment which runs the entire district is housed at the central office. How would this project be covered? ESSA funds have already been amended for the purchase of this equipment pending approval. Tiber Creek will install and configure the new SAN, 2 new servers, and perform a data transfer with minimum downtime for the district. Why, again, do we need this equipment? Failure of our current equipment will affect the entire district. If the sand is lost or goes down, the service will crash. The main controllers of DNS will stop working. And as a result, the internet will start working for the staff and students. The current state of mind for myself and also Mr. Williams, the IT team, before taking time off or going on vacation. So we're whispering a prayer that when we return the next morning or the next week, the equipment is still running. So in conclusion, I am asking for approval to move forward with the purchase of server equipment for the district.
Dr. Williams, I have a question.
Okay.
Was this subject to the, did you take RFPs for this project? Did you take requests for proposals for this project?
Yes, I actually have been in contact with other vendors as well.
And I just want to make sure we complied with the requirements.
Okay.
Was it posted? Was it an informal bid process? How was the project bid?
No, we actually, as I stated, we're currently a vendor, a customer of this vendor. So we have actually had two, the equipment has actually gone down twice. Once prior to when I started in April, and again after I started in April. I contacted the company, Tiber Creek, and which they're a consultant company. So that's how the process started. They advised me on the state of the equipment. I asked for quotes for replacement because we did a comparison what it would cost to extend the warranty versus replacing the equipment.
But this equipment could be received from other vendors, correct?
That's correct. And I have also a couple of the vendors that we currently order from. The cost ranges from $74,000 up to $92,000. So I do have other quotes from other vendors.
Just want to make sure that we comply with the statute. So Dr. Williams will follow up with you to sort of check on that. I'd suggest that we bring this back to the board at the next meeting to make sure that that process will follow. And if not, we'll get that squared away for the next meeting.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So I think we got, listening to the attorney, we got to make sure of some legal things before we actually approve this, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, all right. So this will come back before us no later than our next board meeting then, right, Dr. Williams?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to number 12, to our consent agenda. Motion would be in order to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move that we could approve the consent agenda as rendered, as written.
Second.
Motion has been moved by Ms. Kay Robinson and seconded by Ms. Hale that we approve our consent agenda. You heard that motion. Is there any further discussion on readiness? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, would you let it be known by your voice vote? Ms. Bird Robinson?
Aye.
Mrs. Jenkins?
Aye.
I heard you that time. Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Hale?
Aye.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Ms. Kay Robinson?
Aye.
And O.D. Sykes, aye. Let the record reflect unanimous approval of our consent agenda. All right, we're moving on now to number 13, action from closed session. And we know that two things will be pulled, were pulled.
Three, actually.
Three?
Yes,
You
sir.
said three?
The last one on the list was also pulled. The last one that had been discussed.
I didn't hear you. Can you repeat that?
The last name on the list had also been pulled to bring it to three.
Oh, okay. Yes, you're correct. I see my notes now. Thank you. All right. So how do you all want to move forward with this, that we would approve the personnel recommendation that as it has been amended, and then we'll vote on the other three separately, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so that motion would be in order to approve the personnel committee report as it is amended, and we are going to vote separately on the Director of Federal Programs, the AIG MTSS coordinator, and the, what was that, the district coach?
District coordinator. for instructional
District coordinator, excuse me, district coordinator. All right.
Mr. Chair, I move,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the personnel report as amended.
Second.
Motion has been moved by Ms. Kay Robinson and seconded by Ms. Hale that we approve the personnel report as it has been amended. You've heard that motion. Any further discussion on readiness? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, would you let it be known by your voice vote? Sykes, aye. Ms. Kay Robinson?
Aye.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Ms. Hale?
Aye.
Ms. Bird Robinson?
Aye.
Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
And Mr. Williams?
Yeah.
All right, let the record reflect unanimous approval of the personnel recommendations from closed session as it has been amended. Now, we'll be voting on Director of Federal Programs position. Motion is in order.
Make a motion to approve the motion made. I make a motion to approve the Director of Federal Programs position.
Motion has been made by Ms. Hale and seconded by Mr. Williams that we approve the Director of Federal Programs hire for that particular position. You've heard that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, would you let it be known by your voice vote? O.D. Sykes, aye. Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Kay Robinson?
Aye.
Mrs. Jenkins?
Aye.
Mrs. Bird Robinson?
Nay.
Ms. Hale?
Aye.
And Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
All right, let the record reflect. It is approved, 6 members in favor, 1 board member against. All of the board members are in favor except Mrs. Tanya Bird Robinson. She voted nay. Motion passes 6-1. Thank you so much. All right, next, AIG MTSS coordinator. Motion is in order.
I make a motion to approve the MTS AIG coordinator position.
Motion has been made by Ms. Hale and seconded by Mr. Williams that we approve the AIG MTSS coordinator position. You heard that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, let it be known by your voice vote. Ms. Bird Robinson?
Nay.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Ms. Kay Robinson?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
Ms. Hale?
Aye.
And O.D. Sykes, aye. Let the record reflect. That motion is approved, 6-1 vote. That motion carries. Everybody voted in favor, except for Mrs. Bird Robinson. She was a nay vote. All right, next, the district coach coordinator. I think that's what it is. District instructional coach coordinator. Is that correct?
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the district coordinator of instructional services.
All right, it's been motioned by Ms. Kay Robinson and seconded by Mr. Williams that we approve the district coach coordinator hire for tonight. You've heard that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, would you let it be known by your voice vote? O.D. Sykes, aye. Ms. K. Robinson,
Aye.
Ms. Hale,
Aye.
Ms. Harrison,
Yes.
Ms. Bird Robinson,
Nay.
Ms. Jenkins, Ms. Jenkins, okay, Mr. Williams.
Yes.
All right, let the record reflect, that motion passes tonight, 6-1 vote. All board members are in favor of that hire, and Mrs. Bird Robinson is a nay vote. Motion passes again 6-1. All right. Thank you so much. Board members, do you have any brief comments?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, it's 10 o'clock on the head. It's been motioned by Mr. Williams and seconded by Ms. Hale that we adjourn. All those in favor, I think we can say this together. If you're in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
For the Weldon City Schools new organizational chart, there was one standout position that we currently don't have that we need your blessings and approval for as we move forward. If you approve the organizational chart, you also will be approving that one public information officer.
I'll make a motion to approve the new revised organizational chart.
Second.
All right. It's been motioned. What's the problem?
Let's fix this. Go right ahead, sir, with your vote.
What's the problem?
No, we just had one additional thing, but we need this out the way first.
Okay. Motion was made by Ms. Hale and seconded by, I think, Mr. Williams, correct? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. That we approve our revised organizational chart for our district that is inclusive of the new position of the public information's person as well. You've heard that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, let it be known by your voice vote. Sykes, aye. Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Ms. Hale?
Aye.
Ms. Bird Robinson? Ms. Bird Robinson?
Aye.
Okay, Ms. K. Robinson?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
And Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
All right, let the record reflect unanimous approval of the revised organizational chart with the new position of public information's officer. Okay, Dr. Williams, you said you had one other thing?
Yes, sir. Mr. Pullen has 30 seconds to do a presentation. Yes, 30
Can I
seconds.
ask you a question? Because we're pushing time.
Yeah, I'll be quick.
Okay.
I'm requesting the creation of a dean of students like the other schools have at RVEC that'll assist us in supervising the kids. They have that open block, so they can take those college classes and help just kind of the school run and help us do discipline and actually be able to run an ISS program, which is something I've never been able to do before. That's all we're at.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Board members, I think we've already kind of talked about that, and Dr. Williams, we're going to accept the motion now, but Dr. Williams, if you and your team would make sure that we have the job description laid out so it will be the same for all three schools, and then we'll be with the necessary modifications as we have discussed.
Yes, sir.
And
all
funding.
right.
We'll do it.
All right. Motion is in order to approve that position.
Second.
Who motion?
Ms. Hale.
Ms. Hale motion and Ms. Burt Robinson seconded that we approve the Dean of Students position for our early college as well. You've heard that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, let it be known by your voice vote. O.D. Sykes, aye. Ms. K. Robinson,
Aye.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Hale,
Aye.
Ms. Bird Robinson,
Aye.
Ms. Harrison,
Yes.
and Ms. Jenkins.
Aye.
All right. Let the record reflect unanimous approval of creating that position at our early college as well. Thank you so much, board members. Now we can go back to this motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to- oh.
All right, it's been motioned by Ms. Jenkins. Who seconded?
We have a motion and a second, we just need a vote.
Yeah, we just need a vote.
Okay.
Oh, we went back to it. That's right. All in favor of adjourning? I forgot who made the motion. Let it be known by your, we can do this unanimously, I guess. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, let the record reflect unanimous approval to adjourn our meeting for tonight. Thank you, board members. Thank you, community. Thank you, Dr. Williams, and our staff and our attorney. Everybody have a good evening.